Hi, welcome to Film Stash. My name is Douglas Campbell, and welcome to the final Halloween episode of 2025. To end this year's series of videos, I wanted to review a film that I think is pretty significant, particularly within the indie horror space. For those of you who aren't chronically online or within the YouTube film space, Shelby Oaks is the directorial debut of Chris Stuckman, who is one of the larger YouTube movie reviewers on this platform. Stuckman began reviewing movies in 2009, and he continues to do it to this very day. In 2021, Stuckman was signed on to direct Shelby Oaks with Paper Street Pictures, and eventually the film was picked up for distribution by Neon Productions. And with the help of crowdfunding sites such as Kickstarter, Stuckman was able to raise the funds for his film through his fans. Stuckman and his wife, Samantha Elizabeth, they based this film off of a series of YouTube videos titled The Paranormal Paranoids, and they even rehired the actors from these short videos to reprise their roles on the big screen. Hey, Editing Doug here. Yeah, ignore my super comfy pajamas. In the middle of editing, I decided to listen to Dead Meat's interview with Chris Stuckman, and he revealed in the interview that he essentially filmed the whole Paranormal Paranoid segment. Like, he got the actors and they filmed it during around like COVID. So it wasn't like a separate YouTube video that him and his wife came across. Like, it was just, they made it. They made it themselves. So, yep, that's it. All right, see ya. And filming, it really commenced all throughout the state of Ohio, most notably within the Mansfield Reformatory, which is best known for being the Shawshank Prison, which I've been to. It's awesome. This film has been in the works for a while, but it is now available for the general audience to enjoy. Like, regardless of what you have to say about this film, I think this is a very exciting time for YouTubers who are making the jump to Hollywood. First, you had Raka Raka with Talk to Me, and now you're having Stuckman with Shelby Oaks. And as a fan of Stuckman's channel, he was one of the creators who inspired me to even do this in the first place. I have been looking forward to seeing this film for quite some time. So with that background filled in, let's just jump right into Shelby Oaks. But before we get to that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Any help that you can give this channel, I would greatly appreciate, and if you're already subscribed to me, thank you so much. Shelby Oaks follows Mia, played by Camille Sullivan, searching for her sister Riley, played by Sarah Dunn, who went missing during a YouTube paranormal investigation. Mia's decade-long obsession leads her down a rabbit hole of mystery and terror. Positives. Stuckman, with his directorial debut, I don't think he strayed too far from his roots, as he takes a multimedia approach to this movie. With the mystery involving a missing group of YouTubers, naturally, a lot of it feels very found footage, and I thought the mix of the two, it kept things pretty interesting for the most part. I think definitely with the intro, brings you into the world, it catches you up to speed in a way that, you know, it feels natural enough for the most part, although I think maybe it goes on a tad too long. But even going into the main film itself, I feel like the film, it does go back and forth between Mia's investigation and Riley's actual videos, which lead from one clue to the next clue to the next clue.
Yeah, and that'll lead you to another clue. And that's all you'll ever find is another clue.
And despite like things switching up all the time, I feel like her performance, it does ground the film and this material. And without that performance from her, I don't think Stuckman's film would have really worked that much at all. It's great. Like, it's a really great performance. You can really feel that desperation with her character. And besides the film having a very mixed media aspect, this overall story, it is a mystery box. I know a lot of people make fun of J.J. Abrams for coining this term, but I think sometimes a mystery box story can work. And with this film, like, he doesn't stick the ending per se, but I feel like the duration of the story, it is really well done. You are presented with this unique and intriguing premise, and with the videos themselves, like, it's sort of subtle, some of the clues. Other times it's sort of thrown in your face, but it's very interesting to watch, and at least for me as an audience member, I definitely was trying to figure this out along with our main character Mia. I just kept trying to be like, okay, so how does this lead to the next clue? How does this lead to the previous clue of the video? Because it is almost like you entered this investigation at this stage of the game with the main character. The horrors of the film, for the most part until the end, I think they are pretty subtle. It's pretty effectively creepy. It's shot really well, particularly at the Shawshank prison. The horrors mostly lie in the discovery of what's going to be next, what is the next clue, and being afraid of what's to come. And the stillness in the air, I think, certainly adds to that tension as well. Mixed. This film, I think it does have a lot going for it, especially for a directorial debut. But there are certainly things I could critique, and one of it is that this film, it tells, but it doesn't show. While the crux of the film, it is Mia's investigation, and I certainly think that Sullivan really sells that desperation well. Like, I think it's really well done. In a weird way, I kind of wish that we got more of her reaction after her sister disappeared. I kind of wish we got to see some of the turmoil of the media circus involving her sister's disappearance. Because, like, as it is, like, you sort of are just told through the documentary and eventually through some dialogue after the documentary segments, she really misses her sister. She wants to find the sister and make things right. And you do see some of the desperation, but like, I feel like if you saw a little bit more of this as well through basic actions, you probably could have got this point across a lot better. It very much tells you that Mia's life is falling apart. You don't sort of get to see it through smaller, subtler moments. And so because of that, ultimately, our main character, she feels a little bland, even though, like, the performance is great and I totally buy into the investigation. This film goes through quite a lot of horror set pieces, and a lot of it I really like. And there is tenseness and spookiness to it. But without spoilers, when we get to the end of everything, and whenever you do get these answers, something feels missing. It's a little anticlimactic. This thing happens and the movie's done. It's very abrupt. It's a little too abrupt. And I'm not saying that films can't have abrupt endings or endings that are so anticlimactic. One of my favorite films of all time, Night of the Living Dead, that ending makes the film, just how anticlimactic and nihilistic it is. But with the ending that we ultimately got for Shelby Oaks, it does feel like there needed to be a little bit more that happened, or at the very least, something maybe a little more subtle to wrap everything up. I mean, with what we got, I don't think it undermines what came before completely, but it definitely did not stick the landing, unfortunately. So in the end, I thought this film was a pretty decent directorial debut for Chris Stuckman. Something that I try to keep in mind with my reviews. I usually write my reviews on my own. I film things like I'm doing right now. I try to put my opinions out there before really seeing anything else because I want my opinions to be my own. But unfortunately, it's one of those things, like, because my algorithm is within the film verse, I did see some thumbnails and some ratings that were kind of dogging on Chris Stuckman's film, and I think a little unfairly. Like, don't get me wrong, this film, like, there was a lot of things I enjoyed about it. It wasn't the home run that I wanted it to be, but a lot of the reviews I felt were a bit harsh. I've seen some people say that it is a little too generic of a film. It certainly borrows way too many elements without doing things differently, and I think that is a very fair critique, but the one thing that I look at whenever I see someone like doing this for the first time is, did you make a film that did its job? Stuckman's goal was make something that was creepy and full of suspense. I think he did. And it's something to keep in mind that whenever anybody does anything creative, you try to take inspiration from the things that you know, and within time, like, you venture out and do your own things and you put your own spin on things. And certainly with this film, Chris Stuckman was very inspired by things like the Blair Witch Project. He threw like a lot at the wall, and not all of it stuck, but I think enough of it stuck that the talent is there. A lot of the scenes were really well lit, and the tenseness was there. My hope for Chris Stuckman is that I really hope it doesn't get to him, because I would actually like to see his follow-up film, but for now, this is just a first film. A first film with a lot of media attention on it because he is a movie reviewer, but there is promise there, and I think the bigger crime would be for him to never make anything again. I would want to see him learn from this. An example that I could think of is actually Dan Aykroyd's directorial debut, Nothing But Trouble. It's like the most weirdest, batshit insane movie ever, but there's like so many inspired bits in there that I would have loved to see how he would have honed his craft, like doing more movies, but alas, we didn't get anything else from him. And I hope that Stuckman doesn't take the same direction. I really want him to do more. In the end, like, I highly recommend you check out this film anyway, because while I've been pretty positive, but there were definitely a lot of mixed elements in there, there might be stuff in there that you'd like. I would highly recommend it. I would give this thing a very high 6.5 out of 10. Well, that's all the time we have for today here on Film Stash. My name is Douglas Campbell, and I hope you had a wonderful Halloween.